Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
BK Asset Management's Kathy Lean.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to be back here with you. I know that, the markets were, pretty active last week while I was in Dubai, and hopefully Boris was there to, walk you through all of it. Once again, I said last Monday, it would have been a week where I probably would have sat aside for most of the days because we don't trade a lot of high event risk. And we did see some very interesting data, which we'll talk about today. But good morning, everyone. Let's see who's here in the room. It seems like, we decided that we were going to stream anyway today, just because markets are calmer and give us a, kind of nicer opportunity to talk about what's expected. But, lo and behold, X decided to go down. So our normal audience is not coming, although it seems like it's starting to come back. We'll have to see if it is coming back or not. But good morning, Bob. Good morning, Trader Zone. Good morning, Peter, Alex. And we've got some great songs. I mean, I don't know how many Boris has created. I think at least 3 or 4. But we're actually compiling together a playlist, which I think is going to be really fun.
Already done. It's already done. It'll be coming.
Yeah, I love, the tunes. And that's why, even though we started a little late, I was obsessing on refreshing Twitter. I needed to get into the groove with the tunes. So I'm glad that, we had the opportunity to do that. Okay, so let's talk about the markets. What's really interesting is that, we had a tremendous amount of economic data last week. And we did at the front of the week have some interesting moves in dollar yen. Gold itself did see on Thursday, Friday, a little bit more volatility. But what I have been saying is that, those huge candles that we saw at the end of January, the beginning of February, I don't want to jinx myself by saying this, but, I think is behind us, unless, of course, there's suddenly some sort of crazy geopolitical war that's happening that you and I can't predict. And I'm so glad nothing happened when I was in the Middle East, when I was in Dubai last week. I was so worried I would not be able to come home to my kids as quickly as I wanted to. Of course, I would have been stuck there forever, but I'm so glad that nothing happened with that armada in the Middle East. And actually, it seems like conversations are going okay. We haven't seen any terribly negative news, which I think is, pretty much as good of the news as you can expect. And I think, that is part of the reason why gold prices are not higher. I mean they're not lower either. Gold prices are kind of flat. So, it's a little bit hard to tell, but I do believe that the big wide ranges in gold are behind us. Now, of course, the question is, are these prop firms going to lift their restrictions on trading gold? I think they will, not right now, but I think, what is it? It's been maybe a week and a half of slightly lower volatility. Of course, they're probably going to take their cue from the CME. If we hear from the CME that they are reducing the margin requirements, then we'll certainly see the prop firms that have restricted it come back in. But there are many prop firms that don't restrict it. And so people are still trading gold. And of course, we have talked often about how CFD is not tied to the CME pricing. So for those of you that can trade gold and silver CFDs, either through prop or is that true, Peter? Is that true, Boris? Apex doesn't have any restrictions right now.
I'm not sure, but I'm going to double check. I'm surprised.
Well, I mean, if you pull it up, then you can share your screen.
I'll let you guys know. Let me just double check and I'll come back.
Okay, fantastic. I love you guys. I love Peter. I love you for giving us information that we may not have had. So anyway, the point I want to make is that we are seeing, and this is a good opportunity to share my screen. Hold on. We're seeing lower volatility in the markets. Give me 1 second. Share screen, entire screen. All right. So you got my screen here. Do you like it white or do you like it dark? What do you guys like? I think dark.
Guys, Peter is right. They kind of quietly opened up metals. I haven't traded the big one, but they're definitely letting the MGC trade, so that's good news. So
normally I would go on to my X feed, but you know what? Let me go on their Discord and see what's going on here. Let's see what they said about the Discord. Notice board on Discord. I'm going to pull my screen down, and they actually don't have this announcement.
Yeah, they haven't made the announcement.
Very quiet.
But it's kind of a quiet holiday release. Maybe they're waiting for tomorrow when the markets are open. But like they're letting you.
Peter, how did you find out about this? Did they send you an email? I would love to hear, Peter. Did they send you an email that you could trade metals? Because the last announcement was the President Week holidays. And then before that was the trading halt. So there's no additional ones that were announced. And let's see, we go to their most recent social media. Still.
Wait, no, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm trying. Hold on. I can't. No, they are trading. No, it's trading. That's correct.
On the homepage of Apex, just hit help desk and see. Well, let's do that together and see. Apex.
No. I'm sorry, guys. It's all confused. They're not trading. They're quoting, but they're not trading. Like I can't. I'm going to try and buy right now. See if I could do this physically. No. They're not trading. My mistake. They were quoting, but they're not trading gold. So the metals are not trading yet on Apex. So I think
got us so excited for a minute.
Got us so excited, but no, it's not working. It was like they're quoting them, but they're not trading them. So that you can't do it. You can't.
No big deal. I mean, you can still trade with Tradeify, and you can get the best discount they offer at any point in time with code EDGE. What is this? It's tradeify.co, I think. With code EDGE, you get the best discount, 30% off all accounts, 40% off 150. Also with Ola Prime, same thing. So you can still trade with everyone else. Apex is going to come back. Maybe they'll come back. We'll see. I think they're not going to come back until the CME can adjust their restrictions. But the volatility, the point I want to make is that the big swings that we saw before are behind us. And I don't think that we're necessarily going to see the same big moves. And that's going to allow some of these firms to start bringing it back. And so, gold, made it for a lot of traders. And I think it will continue to make it for a lot of traders going forward as well. So gold volatility should kind of remain. And we're not going to see these. I mean, this is what spooked everyone out, these big candles. And so I don't think we're going to see that type of volatility. Now, today, as you all know, stock and bond markets are closed, but the futures markets are still open. It's like an abbreviated day today. I mean, we saw this on the Apex help desk. They showed you that it was Monday early market halt at 1 p.m. and then everything opens normal at 6 p.m. for the futures market. So, things are moving around this morning. Stock futures are up. Gold futures are down. And Forex, of course, doesn't close. Forex is up against dollar yen. Dollar is up against pretty much all of the major currencies. Rhonda, where do you live that Apex is not offered? Let me know where you live, and maybe we can give you a different option. Anyway, the point I want to make is that futures are up, and they're pointing to optimism. We're starting this new trading week with optimism and recovery in the greenback. Now, in general, you can see that with the big moves in Forex, the biggest mover is hands down the Japanese yen. Why is Japanese yen moving so much? And the reason is because, first off, we had this huge decline last week in dollar yen. This huge decline was due to one of two things. One thing is, I love these engulfing candles, by the way. Engulfing candles are my favorite. But the first was, of course, we had the LBDP victory, smashing success by this new prime minister. The market thought that was going to weaken the yen and not strengthen it, but it was kind of the buy on news, sell on rumor type of stuff. And, in regards to dollar yen, because traders had sold the yen so much going into it, when she won, they kind of reversed their trades. But then, of course, it was also due to, of course, the weaker U.S. data. We had weaker, retail sales. We had okay non-farm payrolls. We had weaker inflation data. We had weaker jobless claims. And all of that really just drove all of the, major currencies lower. And that became, obviously a huge problem for a lot of people. And so, definitely pay attention to that. Now, in terms of today, we're seeing the yen lower because we actually had horrendous Japanese data. And I'll show you my calendar. Japan is doing poorly. And, unfortunately, the weakness of the yen is not helping at all. The weakness of the yen is supposed to be good for Japan's economy, but instead, it is actually driving, it's not helping at all. And GDP has been very, very weak. So that is certainly, a problem for them. Rhonda, I believe Ola Prime does offer trading for traders in Kenya. I do not see it as one of their restricted countries. If you look at Ola Prime, restricted countries, Kenya is not one of them. They restricted countries in, let me see, Afghanistan, the Balkans, different places, Central Africa, but Kenya does not look like it's on this list. So, definitely check them out. They now offer futures as well. Starting fee, $38, pretty good here. And so yes, you can probably trade with them, and you can use the code EDGE to get 30% off and not 15% off. So anyway, back to the data and what's going on this week. Okay, so this week we have, okay, good. First off, the markets are closed on Monday, the U.S. markets. It's also the Lunar New Year holiday. So a lot of Asian markets are closed as well. And what this tells you is that we do have thinner liquidity than normal. And so less participation could either go one of two ways. It could lead to big swings or consolidation. I think it's going to be leading to more consolidation because we don't have a tremendous amount of US data. The US data to focus on will really be the Fed minutes, although I don't know how revealing that's really going to be. But we do have the Fed minutes on Wednesday. We also, in terms of US data, have things like the Empire State Manufacturing Index, the Philly Fed Index. We have a bunch of Fed speak. I think they're like 20. Hold on, let me double check. I mean, 20 seems to be a really big number, but let's see. That is a big number. 8 Fed officials speaking this week. So that will be very interesting. Also, the reason why the 20th is 20 is the number in my head is because February 20th, which is going to be on Friday, is another SCOTUS Supreme Court decision day. So the question is, will they make a decision? Will they make a decision on the tariffs? Tariff decision. Now, no one's really talking about that right now, but that is definitely something that could impact things. We also have a partial U.S. government shutdown happening. Doesn't seem to matter the market as much because it seems like it's more of a Department of Homeland Security issue. But the U.S. government shut down again because they couldn't reach an agreement on the ICE funding. So that is also something that is on the calendar. So these are the things that will affect predominantly. Of course, you got to watch the geopolitical headlines. These are the things that will affect gold, as well as indices and the US dollar. There are other things that could affect the other major currencies. But these are the things that are front and center. And unfortunately, with the geopolitical headlines, the latest headline that came yesterday is that Trump told Netanyahu that he would support Israel strikes on Iran's ballistic missile program if the talks fail. That type of language does not, necessarily mean that the negotiations are going well. So it's a little bit of a red flag in my eye, although, they are gearing up for the negotiations, a new set of negotiations to continue. So it's not as if the talks have completely broken down, but the fact that we had those comments from Trump during his conversation with Netanyahu, and it is the main headline today with regards to Iran and Trump, that this is going south, in my opinion. We'll see. But if that's the case, then gold will rally, stock indices will fall. But for now, it seems like we're still watching that. The Fed speak will be very, very important. The reason why the Fed speak is very important is because compared to last week, the CME Fed Fund futures have shifted a lot. Now, for those of you that don't know, the CME Fed Fund futures basically shows you what is quote unquote priced in to the market. What is the market pricing in for Federal Reserve interest rate cuts or hikes when everyone talks about Federal Reserve interest rate cuts and hikes? And you can see that right now the market's pricing in no change, 92% chance of no change in March. And in June, the market is pricing in basically a 70% chance of a 25 basis point rate cut this in June. But if we fast forward to December, the current interest rate is 3.5 to 3 3/4%. So it's 3.5, 3 3/4%. Most of the odds, 31 plus 29 plus 14, basically 80% chance that we're going to see rates by December 9th at 3% to 3 1/4%. This is the way that you read the CME Fed Fund futures. So there's an 80% chance that we will see interest rates at 50 basis points lower. So the market is pricing in, a good possibility of a 50 basis point rate cut by December. And so that's changed because prior to this, people were only looking for 25 basis points this year. The Fed dot plot was only looking for 25 basis points this year. And in fact, there's scope for like 75 basis points rate cut. Now, this 50 basis point rate cut is actually expected to come by September. So they're expecting, let's see what's in July. So expecting one rate cut in June. They're expecting a small chance that there could be a follow-up move in July, and a very good chance that there could be that the second rate cut will come in September. Very good question by English. Is this good for the markets? In many ways, it is good for the markets, and it's good for the markets because where's my charts? Rate cuts are good for stocks, especially if the market looks for additional interest rate cuts. That would certainly be good for stocks. So all of that, I think, is very, very important. Now, in terms of the Fed speak, we're going to be looking to see whether they reinforce that or not, whether they confirm to us that we're going to get rate cuts this year, and probably maybe more than what they had previously thought. The Fed minutes, I don't think is going to say anything because the Fed left interest rates unchanged in January, and there's really nothing else I think that is monumental, on that front. But yes, I don't think it's going to be that market moving. And then, of course, February 20th is the Fed tariff decision day. It probably won't happen. They probably won't make a decision in the tariffs. As someone said, maybe they're going to wait until after the midterm elections. It could be possible, but we have to have it on our radar. We have to have on our radar on the possibility of the Federal Reserve, the Supreme Court making a decision on tariffs. So these are the things that will affect stocks, gold, and the US dollar. Although for the most part, US data last week was pretty weak. This week, the FOMC minutes may remind us that the Fed isn't in a rush to cut interest rates, so it could lead to a bit of a dollar recovery, which is what we're seeing already. Because the Fed minutes and Empire State Manufacturing Survey and some other second-tier reports are the only things that we have on the calendar this week. But we have other things. I mean, we have a RBNZ rate decision, which we'll talk about, and Kiwi is flat today. We have PMIs from the UK, Australia, Eurozone. Those are all important releases to be paying attention to. We have a ton of UK data. We have a ton of CAD data. So this could be a week where we get more opportunities in the other major currencies than we do in the dollar, which may end up just licking its wounds as, the Fed minutes are expected to be a little less, dovish compared to the data. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the calendar. So we talked about how we had ugly Japanese data. The data from Japan was quite ugly. That's the reason why the yen was weak. Now, in terms of the data that we spent this week, today we had holidays in Canada, China, US. We had Eurozone industrial production numbers, which were better. This week we have the PMIs and the ZOO. Now, I do want to point out it's better, but still negative. So it's not great, right? I think that the ZOO and the PMIs could end up being a little softer. We have RBA minutes tonight. Tomorrow, with the Lunar New Year, we have UK jobs numbers, which, UK data has been quite ugly. So those UK job numbers could be a little softer as well. We have the German ZOO data. The market's looking for better numbers, but the industrial production numbers weren't great. So I don't think that's necessarily the case. We did not have any BOJ intervention. I don't think it's going to happen this week. We also have inflation data from Canada. With the inflation data, I think, we did have weaker IV PMI. So that's probably going to lead to weaker Canadian data this week. And so I think there's a good chance that we could see dollar CAD rebound more this week. Between the combination of possibility of dollar recovery and weaker Canadian data, it could rally. Although our BK trend meter shows that still a little bit of weakness in the short-term charts, a little bit of weakness in the long-term charts, no clear trend emerging yet. Empire State Manufacturing Survey, that's a number to watch from the US. RBNZ rate decision, no change expected. RBNZ is expected to raise interest rates at the end of the year, like the RBA. So that is definitely something to pay attention to. They could potentially raise interest rates at the end of the year. So definitely keep an eye out for that. On Wednesday, we have UK inflation data. According to the PMIs, the prices were actually hotter, so this could be a surprise to the upside. U.S. housing data, the Treasury yields have increased in the U.S., so the housing market is really, going to suffer as a result. And we're going to see a lot of data like housing starts, new home sales, and things like that hurt more than help in terms of the data there. Industrial production from the U.S., not that market moving. We have Fed speak from Bauman, Fed minutes on Wednesday, Australian jobs report last month. The number was really, really good. So this month, the number is supposed to show a little bit of deterioration. It can't be good 2 months in a row. Thursday, jobless claims will be the most important because jobless claims numbers have been weaker and they've been disappointing. We continue to get that. That's going to be another red flag for the U.S. labor market. Canadian, U.S. trade data, interesting, but I'm going to be more interested in all the Fed speak. And then on Friday, we have UK retail sales numbers. That's probably going to be softer. Eurozone and UK PMIs. This is the most important piece of data for the rest of the world, so definitely pay attention to that. We have Canadian retail sales numbers, which could be a little bit softer as well. So actually a little stronger because we had good job growth. So these numbers could be a little stronger. Market's looking for a weaker number. And then the last piece of data from the US that's going to be important is the PCE deflator, personal income, personal spending, and GDP from the US. So those are all things that I'll be watching for this week as well, and new home sales. So quite a bit of data. Now, trading wise, you can see that we can look at our meters here. Gold is there's clear triangle that's forming in gold. We've got a clear triangle pattern here. It's itching for a breakout. It's itching for a breakout here in gold. We'll have to see, what catalyzes the breakout. Sorry, my lines are not drawn perfectly, but it's itching for a breakout, either to upside, downside. Most of the trend meters are showing bearishness, not bullishness. I think that, first off, we break below 4,800, you can see a much more significant sell-off. Right now, things are leaning a little bit more bearish than bullish, which would be consistent with a dollar recovery this week. The stocks are also up, which is more negative for the gold. So we'll have to see as the week progresses whether we get a downside break or an upside break. But it's definitely looking like to me that we can have more of a downside break than the upside break. And for those of you wondering, you can get the BK trend meters for free if you use our code BK Save to purchase a Apex account. Apex is still running their 80% off sale till the end, till I think Wednesday this week. So you can use that, send us your receipt. You can get the trend meters, or you can use the Edge code and get 30% off with some of your favorite prop firms like Tradeify, Ola, and a bunch of the other ones you can see in the description of this video. Think Capital as well. So make sure that you use that, because, you can get the trend meters, the SMA and the EMA meters for free. Let's actually see what the EMA meters are telling us. And see if there's anything different here. Sorry, let me just delete this. Let's see if it's showing me anything different on the trend meters, and you can see they're fully customizable to whatever indicators that you like to use. Boris likes to put it on the 1 minute charts. Bottom right, that's what I want over here. Okay, so you can see trend meters also showing bearishness in gold today. Indices, MNQ, red on the screen, bearish right now on the daily chart. So this actually looks like telling me that the rallies are going to fade, that we're going to get, we've seen the max move of the day. Markets closed, futures markets closed at 1 p.m. So, it can definitely move lower. It looks like the indexes are fading there. And then dollar yen. Dollar yen is more, mixed. Dollar yen is rebounding. I think we're actually going to see a little bit more of a recovery, maybe up to the 155, 154.70, 155 region in dollar yen. Euro dollar about to roll over a bit. I'm more bullish than bearish euros in general, but the dollar could see a little bit of a recovery today. You know, very quiet markets. I don't think we're going to see much more beyond that, but it does suggest to me there's a little bit of a green that could be a little bit of stabilization here. Dollar Swiss, you know, also mixed. You know, you want to see consistency, like you want to see what we saw in the Nasdaq, red on the screen. Dollar CAD, on the other hand, I'm quite bullish dollar CAD this week. I think we're going to see further upside in dollar CAD. Pound dollar, we're seeing stabilization here, although I am personally more bearish pounds than bullish pounds this week. I think UK is gearing up for an interest rate cut. Aussie, we're below the 5 SMA, which is one of the meters. Still bullish, still mostly green on the screen, although even though there's green on the screen, I'm a little bit skeptical of this move overall. Kiwi, it's consolidating near the highs. Still looking quite bullish, although I would be more of a buyer in dip than a seller on rallies. But once again, these trend meters are, very effective when we start to get a lot of consistency in what the market is telling us. And right now it is telling us that we've seen the max. The trend meter is telling me that we're seeing the max of the equity market rally. So if we drop to the 15-minute chart, this is basically multiple time frame analysis on your screen. So you could be looking at the 15-minute chart and you can see, where are we at on a trend basis on a 4-hour daily chart. You can see that we're already rolling over on the 15-minute chart. And my longer term time frames are confirming to me that the trend is bearish. So in this case, I would very much be looking at a sell into the 1 o'clock hour, probably for a move down to the 24, down to this region over here. 24,800 as a short-term move on the 15-minute chart. So it's basically multiple time frame analysis at a glance is the best way to describe the trend meters. And you can get it free with, using the edge code with any of our partners, including 8-cap challenges, Ola Prime, Think Capital, Tradeify. With Apex, you need to use the BK Save code. That's the only one that's different. But otherwise, that's what we're looking at for the coming week. Now I'm going to invite in Boris, who is going to talk about the markets with you as well. Any questions in the meantime? Any questions for me? Do you like my screens black or do you like my screens white? Let's see if anybody has any comments about that. All right. And thank you for the Happy New Year. I'm looking forward to, for those of you that are BK members, I'm not going to stream tomorrow morning because it's Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year. So I'm going to be celebrating with my family. But Boris will be in.
Yes, I will. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. I'm just having a little fun here, trading my account in very, very quiet, but actually like lots of volatility in the markets. Today is a really, really good day.
Look at this, Boris. Look at this. The trend meters are telling you that are basically forecasting, and we could be talking and it could get down here while we're talking. And that's why this is multiple time frame at a glance, and it's extraordinarily useful.
Right. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted here, trying to do a little bit of scalps here. Guys, I have what?
Show us your scalps.
Nah, I don't want to show my scalps.
Okay,
I'm
fine.
working on my screens right now. I'm just kind of a little focused on my screens here.
So how do you get the trend meters? Basically, you get the trend meters by purchasing a prop challenge with one of our partners, forwarding us your receipt. Make sure you have to use our code EDGE the code is EDGE, EDGE, for every firm except for Apex, where you have to use BK Save for Apex. And these codes also give you the best discounts. 80% right now with Apex, 30% with Edge for all of the prop firms that we partner with. So use that code. And forward us your receipt, and then we'll give you access to the trend meters. I love that you're loving it. All right.
Okay, guys. Give me just 1 sec. I got myself into all sorts of trouble, and I was hoping Kate was going to go longer, but no. All right. Let me.
Why are you trading today? I mean, look, it's like the quietest. I always talk about when to trade and when not to trade.
It's actually
And a
like,
holiday is like not to trade.
there's actually a lot of movement in the Nasdaq. I'm just on the wrong side of it right now.
We're looking. Well, if you use the trend meters, Boris, you wouldn't be on the wrong side of it, right?
I'm not using trend meters, obviously. I'm trying to do all the worst things. This goes into my favorite topic that everybody talks about, which is do as I say, not as I do. Where I love to pick bottoms. I'm just trying
red on the screen in the trend meters, and we're getting there, my friends. As we're talking, the trade is happening, and the trend meters are proving their worth. Where multiple time frame analysis, red on the screen, showing you the trend meters, 2800 is the key. You know,
right.
I don't think the 9:30 open is going to matter, Glad, because maybe it will.
No, because there's no 9:30 open. It's a there's no activity today.
But I basically gave you like 25 points in the NASDAQ while we're talking. And so it shows you how powerful this is. And look at this, 24,800. We are there in the NASDAQ and moving below it. So get yourselves the trend meters by using our codes with your either, with your favorite prop firms. If you don't trade prop, you can become a BK member. You can get them for free. And I use them all the time. Multiple time frame analysis at a glance. And so, maybe I have to change the name, but they're very, very useful.
All right. Well, the beauty of having multiple accounts is we can start with a fresh account and actually trade properly today. So I'm going to show you a few tricks of the trade today with my things that I just discovered with Trade Evade, and also for those of you guys who are trading OLA and using my or want to use my special one-click tool, I'm going to show you a little bit of that as well. So let me take the screen here.
Yes, and I will say goodbye. Have a great Chinese New Year for those of you that celebrate it, or Lunar New Year. And otherwise, I will see you, BK members on Wednesday. All right, bye.
Awesome. Have a happy New Year. Okay. Hi guys, how's everybody doing? I know it's a little bit of a quiet day today, but we're actually look at this. We just had a massive 100-point dump in the NAS, which of course I was trying to buy the bottom of and getting myself killed. But that's not really what I want to talk to you about. I want to show you something very, very cool and very interesting, which many of you probably don't know. And I just discovered this myself. So let me just get a little bit bigger on the screen here. Good morning. Because everybody's seeing my screen okay? Yeah? Looks fine? All right. Okay. Where am I? I'm at 82. Wow. Jesus Christ. I'm just getting hammered every which way. All right. Wow. That was a big pump. All right. Watch this. So watch this. I'm going to show you something very cool. Suppose I think this is the bottom. I'm going to do something. Wow. Fuck. I can't do this. Hold on. So annoying. Okay. Why am I? Because I'm in the wrong count. Okay. Watch this again. Okay. Sorry. I am trading with hotkeys on Trade Evade. I'm going to do this like with very, very small contracts. I'm actually trying to buy the bottom. I'm going to average into the buying of the bottom, all with hotkeys. I'm going to show you what I do. Let's see if this is going to be another disaster of me trying to buy bottoms here. But the important part is not so much what I do, but how I do it. I'm going to just buy. I'm going to buy another hotkey. The only problem is you have to have your cursor on the actual Trade Evade account, which is really annoying because on the actual browser. So if you don't have it on the browser, it won't activate the hotkey. I'm going to show you how to use hotkeys at Trade Evade, which is very, very cool and a really, really neat little setting. I'm going to bring this down all the way to the bottom. Basically, I'm assuming this is the bottom candle right now. I'm just going to try and build a little bit of a scalp buy over here in tiny little increments of one lots, and see if we can resolve these trades. This is my break even. See if I can do my usual. Let's buy the bottom try to resolve these trades idea. But and let's just see how this trade goes, and then I'm going to actually show you step by step exactly how to use hotkeys to do this. Super simple. Now I'm not even using volume delta. I'm just looking at the bottoms right now, trying to, it hit the bottom. I'm trying to see if this will resolve my trades. Come on, let's go. There we go. I finally resolved my trades, and I finally net positive on this position. This is not anything you should be doing. This is just me fooling around. The important part, the cool part that I want to show you, okay, let me just bear with me a second, is we're going to go here. Hang on just one sec. Bear with me. Okay, you guys see my trade evade, right? And I'll show this tomorrow. By the way, I'll show this more days. But it's just very cool little thing that I had no idea that was in trade evade. You go in here into the options, into your settings. You go into preferences, right? You go into hotkeys, and you click them to enable them, and you say edit hotkeys. So options, preferences, hotkeys. Within the hotkeys, you go to Super Dom legacy chart, right? Click over here. And I made my stuff incredibly clean, which is I put, you have to have a control key or some other key. You have to have a 2-key combination. If you want to use a 1-key combination, I think you could, but then it becomes a little bit of a problem. Anyways, my buy is a Command B. My sell is a Command S. My exit at market is Control F. And just get me out of here is Command X. Actually, you know what? I think I want to change this. I'm going to change this to Command. I'm going to reset this. I'm going to change this to, I like Command X as my natural exit. And I don't really need cancel all. This is exit, market, and cancel. This is just a one uniform command. So I literally have only 3 commands that I'm using, right? So now I'm going to just simply close this up. And what you will see is like, if I go on the charts here, right? We actually have like possibly a really great little setup coming up. I'll show you. So now I have all I got to do is this, and the only thing that you need to do is you need your mouse cursor to be on this tab. Like if you're off, if you're over here, it's not going to work. Oh, sorry. And I forgot the single most important part. This is the part that everybody screws up, and this is how you know you have it enabled or not enabled. When you are in your DOM in Trade Evade, you have to hit this H key. It will then create a tiny little, you can't even freaking see it. You can't even, let me just even move it here. I don't think you can even see it. It's so small. Do you see the little keyboard thing over here? Tiny little keyboard thing that I'm showing you. It's tiny. Next, but anyways, when you do this, you'll see it. When you hit the H properly, if you hit the H button, the keyboard will appear. If you don't, I click it over here, keyboard goes away. So if you have the keyboard, that very subtle, totally invisible, and incredibly unintuitive symbol tells you that you have hotkeys in the thing. All right. So let's just have another fun here. I'm going to hit Control B. I can't do it because now I have to go. This is the only problem. I have to hit Control B. So I hit Control B over here, and this is the reason why you have to have the you have to have the mouse on the actual Trade Evade thing. So it's not like it's a perfect solution, because if you don't have the mouse on, the hotkeys are just useless. But if you have it on, it does get you into a trade super fast, right? So here's I'm in this trade basically holding to the lows. It's probably going to break the lows as we continue to just I'm going to just put myself right underneath here. If it stops me out, obviously it's a natural stop. If it doesn't stop me out, it's a turn. Not a trade. This is just me fooling around. But the point is that And what if I wanted to go Control X? Boom. Ah, shit. Again, this is the only problem. This is the only thing that I really don't like about this is that because I'm showing you my screen. Ah, fuck. See, I got stopped out. I could have gotten Control X out if I had my key on the screen. Obviously, this is not something you would. Let me just go back again. I'm back in here trying to see if they hold this this bottom. I'm gonna build this bottom. Shit. The problem is this is the other problem is. So we got done on that. We got done on that second buy. The problem is every time, this is what the mental thing I forget. Every time you move your cursor, I'm on a different screen. So I have to really now put my cursor back into Tradeovate if I want to put the hotkeys. This is the only issue with this whole hotkey thing is that the thing should be on this. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do Control. Oh, I try to do Control X and I it was too late. Anyways, we bought the bottom. If you guys were scalping with me on the bottom here, that's less of an interesting thing than the fact that you could go in and out super fast with the hotkeys, much faster than you could ever do with a point and click. The key thing, though, is that you must have your cursor on the Tradeovate tab. If you don't have it, the hotkeys won't work, right? So I thought I'd show that to you because I thought that's kind of very cool for today's little thing. I'll show this tomorrow in much more detail. Anybody have any questions on this? Anybody have any questions at all? Everybody just seems to be so quiet. I don't have a single comment from you guys. I actually managed to make a little money in all of this scalping. So let's say I think this is another bottom. Again, I have my cursor on my Tradeovate, and I'm just trading. I'm obviously trading tiny little micros. The only issue is that if I take my cursor off here, I then have to put my cursor back onto the Tradeovate panel if I want to get another blended trade. If I want to just say I want to buy some more over here on the moves. Let's assume I think this is we kind of made a mildly tradable bottom over here, which is by no means guaranteed. You just watching? Okay. Every time I want to do Control X and get out of market, it actually just takes me out fine. So, anyways, really fun little trick to show you in case you guys want to scalp around, especially around the bottoms. I mean, obviously, the prospect of picking bottoms is just a sucker bet, but hopefully you guys like it. The thing that I really wanted to show you in terms of setups, and we're going to go through this tomorrow in much more detail, is that the Christmas tree setup, which is basically what I was showing you all of last week as a scalping setup, is actually built in with the parameters that I talked to you about, which is like white dot, green dot over green slope for continuity, red dot or purple dot, red dot over red slope for continuity to the downside. When you enable Christmas tree, which is what I've enabled here as labels, you're essentially trading that momentum setup, which is very cool. And more importantly, it's really it doesn't. The Christmas tree setup is really not designed for the trend component, but if you just simply set up Christmas tree for I'm going to show a trade, but I'm going to do trend only. If you just do a trend only, it's very effective, right? If you look over here, trading underneath the trend. I mean, it's a little bit dead, but most of the continuity trend trades are really quite good. And especially if you take the neon ones, it's hard to see the difference here on my screen, but you can see it on my screen. Like the red is the higher low, the neon red is the lower low, which is always the stronger signal. Those are really, really good signals. But as I was looking at the Christmas tree setup, I realized that within that, we actually have an even better, more interesting, powerful trend setup that a lot of you guys are going to like, precisely because it creates, by the way, let's just have fun here. I was going to say, oops, yeah, why not? I'm just trying to see if, is this yet another tradable bottom? Okay, let's go along here for fun. If it breaks me, it breaks me. I'm going to stay underneath here. The really, really cool trend scalp setup actually shows up. I'll show you just 1 second. Let me see if I get myself stopped out and trying to buy these bottoms. Yeah, we get clipped out. All right. Small things. You can't really see it because the trend here is super, super strong. But let me show it to you here in a couple of examples where it's just actually every single trade here is a winner. The first thing you do is you trade only with trend. So in this case, you're only going to take down signals, right? The sequence that you're looking for, which is kind of like what I call the early Christmas tree signal, is white dot, the next red dot, whether it be purple or red. You take that one because let's assume this is a downtrend. So sell here, white dot, red dot, sell here, white dot, red dot, sell here, white dot, red dot, sell here. Every one of these trades works super, super well. You basically need an establishment of a counter trend move and then a trend resumption move with the red dot. And the same thing is the other way. Yeah, I'm, English, me, I'm an inveterate bottom picker. But I'm doing it at micro level, so I don't care. I'm going to go back again. I'm going to get it back again on this one too. I like to be stubborn. Today is really a demonstration of do not what I say, but do what I say, not what I do. Okay, I'm gonna be a bot. Let me see. First of all, okay, let me put this over here. Bye. All right. Let's see if I can. By the way, here's a great. If this white dot forms, right? Let's see if I can actually make this reversal. Come on, baby. Full 20 ticks. I think we're going to make this reversal. I think it's going to be a white dot here. The next red dot in this sequence, we're going to short. That's going to be a good trend trade for us. Fuck me again. The only thing I hate about this is that it's I have to have I always keep forgetting I need the cursor on the tabs here. All right, I took myself out here. So we haven't made a fresh low, right? Although I'm waiting for this candle. If this candle closes, no fresh low. I'll try to, inveterately try to buy bottom again here for shits and giggles. But this has been actually a very, very strong one-way trade. Something I should not be fading cavalierly. Not making fresh lows. I guess they want to run the 700 as well. That's interesting. But the setup that I'm really looking for is white dot, red dot. That would give us a really, really high confidence trade that we could do. I'm trading 5-10, 5 points, 10 points, 10 point stop, 5 point target. I'm just trading micros. I'm really not trading. I'm just, I'm just fooling around. I'm putting myself on here. Just for argument's sake, let's say I want to build a position here, right? Adjust my target. I got done before I could get myself out. All right, that was good. At least, at least I'm making a little scalp money here. But what I'm really looking forward to, hopefully, if I get it, is we're going to ignore this white dot. We're not going to do anything with it. But what I want to know is if the trend resumes itself down, to the downside with the red dot, maybe here, maybe in the 50s, maybe in the 60s, that's the one I want to short. We can't even get a white dot on this trade. Do we break fresh lows? This will be interesting. If we don't break fresh lows, we'll try to scalp one more time to the upside. Fresh lows, they really want that 700, man. There's a lot of dumping going on here in very thin markets. Interesting. We basically had like a full 1 hour of, downward price action. Benson, it really depends on the kind of trades you want to do. If you're scalping, the maximum that I think, if you have if we have a really high confidence setup, we have a 515 on Nasdaq. We're only trading Nasdaq. We can't trade gold now, and we don't trade the S&P. So we kind of just really left ourselves down to Nasdaq as far as scalping goes. Risk reward ratios are completely dependent on what your style is. There are guys in the room that will trade with 5 to 1. In other words, they'll risk 1 to make 5 on big turn trades or stuff like that. What we try and do is just show you the entry points, and you can decide where, how you want to construct your trades against those entry points. Because it depends whether you like high frequency trades, you like high probability trades, or do you want, really, really high profit trades. All right, we're going to, watching this candle here, and see if we can still hold, if we can hold the bottom here. $20 seconds left. All right. Again, this is a hotkey trade, right? So you see how fast I am on the entry. I put myself underneath here, back to over here on the target. If this comes back down, I'll add a little bit more. Okay, let's add a little bit more. And it's probably going to just take me out. Ooh. Let's see. Yes, they're really coming hard. It's almost impossible to try to pick bottoms here today. Yep, I'm just getting myself clipped on the lows here. it's just a one-way trade. There's all these turn trades are not working. But I'm using very, very small sizes, so none of this is having any impact on my account. It's more like to basically show you, can I quickly come into trades if I see opportunities. Now we tested the 700, right? We just really ran that. So I gotta just see if they hold underneath here. If they don't, they don't. But oh, what happened to my thing? It didn't move? Wow. Okay. I'm using very, very tight stops also. So like a lot of times I'm just getting stopped out very quickly because I can't move my stops. And that's fine. I'm because these are small, I don't want to be holding like large stops, give myself but the markets are kind of actually pretty fast on the drop side. All right, let's see if this turns back or whether I'm again just going to get slaughtered on my buying the bottoms. Let me see if I can get this bigger for you guys visually. All right, all those got done, and my whole thing is recovered now. So good job on me for recovering all those trades. Now, here's where it gets interesting. So they tested the 700. I should have I was just fooling around. I knew they were going to test 700. The turn trade was around here, but the important part isn't the turn trade. The important part is, do they run it a little bit up and then start selling again, retesting the bottom, and that's where we get a chance to enter again on a much more constructive setup, which is going to be a trade setup. So now, now they start running. Now they start squeezing all the shorts because every short like me, they got killed now. Excuse me. Every late short that came in here is going to get killed because everybody started joining the trend. The more they sold it, the more people join the trend, and of course, the more people get trapped at the bottom, right? But eventually, they're going to probably squeeze them maybe to 50, and then they turn it, and that's where I want to be short on this thing. As far as trend goes, see, look at that, all these moves coming back up. I should have probably held my positions longer. Yeah, you could do a trail stop too. So now, like, the most important part is just to be actually patient with this position, because what we are what we really need is a red dot move, which is resumption of the trend after you have we had a very, very deep sell-off here. Usually, but basically the white dot signals to us short covering, and then we're trying to see if we get a little bit more of short resumptions. All right, see, now they're going to try and take it to 50 probably. Anybody configure the hotkeys the way I showed you yet? Or do you guys give a shit? Like, does anybody care that Tradeovate has hotkeys? I find it very useful when I'm trading myself. It's obviously really, really useless when I'm trying to show you shit because I'm moving my cursor around from screen to screen. But when you're focused, it's actually very, very good. It does have a couple of really bad flaws, which I will tell you about, in a sense that you can't use hotkeys to move up and down your stops and targets, which is really like just horrendously bad implementation, in my opinion. Like, that's sort of like the most valuable function of hotkeys, because what happens is that you're using hotkeys to enter, then you have to take your cursor off the screen to another screen to move it on the chart to the downside. Now you lose your hotkey functionality once things turn around. Like, you're losing seconds in terms of the ability to be able to react to things. So that absolutely sucks. On the other hand, in my MT5, I spent the weekend redoing my whole MT5 thing, and I'll show it to you guys tomorrow. And it's really, really cool. All of that functionality is totally, totally present. So if you want to go up and down both the volume scale or up and down the stop and target scale, all of that is possible with hotkeys, which is really, really cool. In fact, if you guys want, let me show you. I actually, hold on a second. I actually put up the landing pages for this. Bear a second with me. I'll send you the link. It's not quite ready for release, but the landing pages, which also show like the whole functionality of the tool, are really there. So just hang on a sec. I need to get the link. That's it. Okay. Here's the link. Check this out. Let me know what you guys think about it. And if you want to know the functionality, just click the button that says, here, I'll actually show it to you. So this is the landing page for the tool, right? But if you really want to see what it does, just show me how it works. And it literally takes you step by step and all the things that it has inside of it, including all the hotkey combinations and things that they can do, which is really, really cool. Okay. All right, we're back up to the 750, just like as I said, right? Now comes the interesting part. Can we get it down? Can we get a red dot over here? Because that's where we're still a very, very negative trend, right? If we can get a red dot, that's going to give us, I think, a pretty high confident trade to the short side. Did you miss a turn trade? Yeah, you missed a turn trade. I traded the turn trade from here. I just gave it up over here, and that's it. I hadn't traded any more trades. But what I really want to show you, this is a trade that I think is like the trade with trend on the dot side is really, really good. Really, really, really good. It's what I call the early Christmas tree trade. The Christmas tree trade is very good when you're getting sell momentum. But this is a trade. So now they just, they're ripping the shorts, a new one, which is exactly what you do on a thin day. I knew it was going to turn. I was just buying everything early, which is always the story of my life. But eventually I turned that around. All right. The thing that I'm interested in now is when are they going to stop, short covering and start resuming the sell trend? That's what we want to be looking at. The only way that this really doesn't work is if we have a pure V-shaped move that goes all the way through to the 800 and kind of resumes the uptrend. But that seems dubious to me. We'll see if that happens. Actually, surprising amount of nice volatility here, right? Kind of really rock and rolling. Look at that, through 69. Nice big moves. And you could, like, the other cool thing with the hotkeys is you could just do a single trade momentum. Like, I'm just going to trade five for 10, win or lose. Every time I have a green dot, I'm just going to take the momentum trade. Every time I have a red dot, I have a momentum trade. Just see how that plays out, which is also kind of fun to do, especially on small size, because then you're not really hurting yourself. And of course, with a very strong momentum, you're going to be way ahead on the moves. You have 3-4 consecutive, just like you have here, 3-4 consecutive winning trades too. But now I want to see a red dot. I want this thing to pause, and I want to see a red dot. I actually don't even need a red dot over red slope. I just need a red dot because I'm in a downtrend. I'm sacrificing one for the trading gods. I want to buy the top just because I want to. I want to see. I want to see a red dot. If I know if I don't buy, it's never going to turn a red dot. So I have to lose a small amount here, sacrifice to the trading gods, to see this thing finally stall a little bit. But it's also just sort of to demo to you, like, what if I wanted to just buy the green dots on a breakout on a 1-2 basis? Could I do it? And the answer is you could easily do it. You could do it here. 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 And all of those hotkey trades would have actually worked. I took myself out. Now I get a purple dot just to see if I'm right. And let's see if we can play the purple dot here. Not quite yet. Kind of stalling. Clean Cyber says it works well. Yeah, it's really it's kind of a fun thing for us to actually do, like on a pure scalp basis, just scalp the dots straight up, straight down. Okay, I'm looking for this turn. I need a purple dot here. Did it hold? All right, see how fast? It's the only advantage is that. Oh, what happened here? Did I buy? Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I think I screwed this up. All right, I'm going to get out. Sorry. The problem is I really screwed this up. I'm sorry, guys. I had it right, but I hit Control B instead of Control S because I was just in a buy mode. I had this absolutely right. All right, I'm going to move this over here into a reasonable trade. I should have been on the sell side. Now I totally messed this up on the buy side. Okay, this stays red. I'm going to sell it again. Okay, fine. All right, it's either going to work or not work. This could be the one exception to the cycle where this thing is going to V-shape against me. But I'm going to do this. Let's see if it's going to resolve. Again, the trade is you're in negative trend. The first red thing. This actually would have worked. I'm going to get myself killed here on a big reversal move here. All right, fine. Nothing I'm showing you today is actually physically working. Everything worked perfectly, of course, off screen. Everything is going to work bad on screen. All right, no harm, no foul. That's That's why I have small sizes. We are kind of V-shaping, but if I went here properly, which was 73, the low here was 63. It totally worked. I just simply hit the wrong button. Okay, I'm gonna wait again. If I get another red dot, I'm gonna try and do this properly with you guys. Because the good thing is this is a downtrend, and there'll be more than one attempt to trade back to trend. So we'll wait patiently. Now I'm going to hit the Control S and see if we can get this done right. Waiting for a red dot. I don't care whether it's purple or red. We're going to short this over here. Great thing about this, though, is that you see you're not doing anything. It's not, if you don't have the setup, you don't have a trade, so you're not kind of squeezed yourself into a short squeeze, because you're trying to pick a turning point over here on the downtrend. All right, let's see if this candle breaks the low, gives us a red dot. And if it doesn't, we'll stay patient for more. The reason why this is a good trade, obviously, is because we're with the big trend. We had a big retrace. The white dot is kind of the early sign of the retrace. And we're looking for the short, just like here, looking for the short, looking for the short, looking for this short over here, which would have worked had I sold instead of bought. V-shape stays in place. And we'll see where it wants to exhaust itself. This is like a classic holiday move, right? Run them down, get everybody to get short, then bring them back, squeeze the hell out of them, and then chop it down as it goes the rest of the day. Back up to the 800 level, right then and there. Can you take every single red? No, you couldn't take every single red dot or green dot, because obviously, I mean, it depends what what you were trading it with, what ratios. The point is that you wouldn't have, at best, you'd have like a 50% accuracy over a big sample size. At best, if you were trading with one, the idea is that you kind of want to maybe take the at the extremes. You could have taken this whole scalp. It's not so much taking the red dot or the green dot. It's basically finding yourself in a continuous slice of data. We had a big slice of slice movement over here. So this is I'm actually surprised that we had a full V-shaped recovery. But after a big slice of movement like that, having 2 or 3 dots consecutively, probably a really good trade. The question is, you're eventually going to hit a bump. But yes, you could. This is what I was sort of saying to you. If you're using hotkeys, and I'm going to do this with you guys tomorrow for fun too. If we can hit a continuous slice, using the hotkeys really gives you very easy continuous scalps in the move, because the dot is going to just continue. Same with the green dot, right? Right now, what I'm just trying to show you is a setup that actually works really well across almost all markets as both a chop and a setup, which is that you're trying to trade to the trend, to the big trend. So like right now, here we go. We finally get the purple dot, 48 seconds left. This thing holds. We're going to go short against this, see if there is a way for us to squeeze a little bit of a scalp back to the trend. 38 seconds left. Now dot goes away. The other good thing is, because you're using hotkeys, you know how we always have to, the last second thing goes away, we press the button, we miss it. This way you can just simply hold the hotkey until the candle closes. If there's a dot, you can just release it. You can just hit it. The hotkey goes away, by the way. Excuse me, the dot goes away. So let's see. Control S. 2, 1, not a trade. Still staying on the move here, but it looks like we finally hit a little bit of a ceiling at the 790. See if they want to take it back down and flush the longs down. Asia low pause. Yeah, it could be. Also, the 800 level. Obviously, that's a much more natural stop level. More green dots, but much smaller candles. We can see, right, kind of exhausting itself a little bit against this 800. Might have a one final burst through before it begins to turn. We're still in a downtrend for all intents and purposes, so we have to be trading to the downside. Although the V has really recovered a lot of the downtrend ground, right? All right, red dot, 45 seconds. See if it holds. I'm in a little bit early. Another bad thing to do, but let's assume that I'm right. Let's assume that this is the near-term top, right? What I'm going to do is, if the red dot holds, I'm gonna do another batch over here and see if we can resolve the whole thing. Okay, red dot holds. Ah, shit. God, I hate this. Damn, I hate moving the fucking cursor around, because it totally destroys my ability to do the fast trades. All right, well, let's see. Again, this is the setup. Now you got to just trust the setup is either going to resolve or not. But the idea is we're still in a downtrend. It's the red dot off the downtrend, off the white move. Do we resolve it to the downside? That's the big question here. And we do. And now we turn into what's called the Christmas tree, which is what I was talking about, where the slope turns red and you have a signal. And you can chase that. This is in a way the early Christmas tree move, right? It's almost always going to create kind of a Christmas tree structure here into the move. So, anyways, finally, I show you what I've been trying to do, and why it's such a high probability setup. All right. Now might go back down, might go a little bit lower. We'll see. The key thing is that if you kind of trade this early Christmas tree setup, if you had traded this, for example, over the last hour, just this, and not fucking around with me, like, let's hit every single dot. You had literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because this was me messing it up. I messed up the execution of 5, 6, 6 winners in a row. 6 winners in a row, right? What's jibe mates? What does that mean? All right, here we go. Let's play this again. White dot, still a downtrend. White dot to red dot. We're gonna short this. Anybody hit that with me? Clean Sabra, you hit that with me? Sailing term for a fast term, or jibe mates. Oh, fuck me. Green Otter, you're really letting your waspiness come out over there, Sailing term. I'm sorry. I forgot my what the fuck are they called? Top. Oh my God. I can't believe I forgot the what are the name of the shoes that everybody wears on boats? Holy shit. I'm really having a senior moment. Topsiders? Is that it? Topsiders? I haven't worn those since like 1980s with my polo shirt. Is that it? Okay, red dot, guys. Oh, actually, no, we had the fuck. I thought we had a white dot. So now this is just a secondary white dot. I mean, it's not a bad short. We can play it if you want to, because still with trend. And this is kind of like let's just, do we want to scalp it, scalp on the continuity if this stays this way. This is like we could just trade red dot if we want to. But what I thought we had a white dot that held, but we don't. Okay, let's give it a shot. If this holds as a red dot, we'll try to short this. All right, short this. Let's see if we get any kind of. We're done. See, nice and clean, right? It's actually like $50 in super fast way. And now we're kind of resuming the short trend again. My point was, like, I just did this with hotkeys, which is the best way to kind of just scalp the super fast trades, right? Boom, boom. That actually worked nicely. You're a sea lover. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Green Otter. Yeah, it's my redemption tour. That's right. It's me basically trading with trend versus me trading against trend, right? Where I like always blow up before it finally turns. I love to trade the turn. That's my they're gonna put that on my gravestone. He loved to trade the turn. But yeah, I mean, and you want to, like, here we go. Let's just do small size here, just to kind of show that. Okay, small size. More, you guys were asking, can we trade the continuity? Let's see if we can trade the This is very small size, but let's see if we get the the 5 dot on the continuity here. It's turning. Okay, so now we get the white dot, which again is going to be a shortable setup for me the other way. If that's fine. I took a tiny little push, so we took 5 plus 1 minus on that move. It was just a small scoop. But here I get a white dot, and if I get a red dot after this, I'm going to have a lot more confidence that the downtrend is going to continue. Right? That this is just a weak rebound, and we're still going to keep the downtrend. Let's see if that happens. All right, here we go. White dot completed. Where do we go from here? If you do nothing else but this early Christmas tree setup, you will be in really good shape. You're not going to have as many trades, right? We can't like scalp like crazy, but the probabilities of these trades are really, really hit. Now, we already had 6 or 7 in a row, so it's totally possible this one won't work, but definitely worth the shot. 3, 4, 2. Does the dot hold? No, dot does not hold. So we wait patiently, see if we get another dot. See if they start breaking it a little bit lower here. 50 seconds, yes. 46. Okay. $30. All right, sold this. And we killed it. And that was, again, nice trade, right? Again, I told you, look at this. It's an 8 for 8 trade today if you just have the patience, right? One and done. One and done. Get her done. Get her done. So I could do this all day with you guys, but of course, Kay has me in a meeting, so I got to run. But the early Christmas tree is it's like an early Christmas gift, right? The early Christmas tree setup. It's the Christmas tree setup, just early. I don't know how to explain it any stupider way than that. Oh, really? That's cool, Adam. If I have another 1,000 years of my life, I'll go look for more setups. But I really appreciate it. Thank you. If you feel free to kind of, you know what I want to do actually. So this is a really good idea. I'm actually let you guys know. My buddy Austin Silver, who's Mr. VWAP, maybe he almost said yes. It's just a matter of like us getting the timing right. He might come on stream on Friday and teach us a little bit about VWAP. And I'm actually kind of thinking of like, hey, maybe we'll put a VWAP instead of the 200. Maybe I can do the 200 and the 8 SMA VWAP instead of regular SMAs, and see if that has any impact on our trades. Actually, I'm curious. Can you do a 1 minute VWAP? Right, indicators. What if we do is like VWAP? Okay. What's that? Is this the blue one? The VWAP. Now, how do we configure it? Time frame chart. Wait for frame closes. 1 minute. Okay. Source high. Let's load it, right? All right, I'm trying to understand. Where's the VWAP here? What time frame is this? I'm going to have him explain it to us, but if upper band, lower band VWAP. Oh, the VWAP itself. Let's make VWAP something that we let's make it white and super thick, and say okay. And then we don't need the upper band or the lower band. We don't need the band fills. I just want the VWAP. This is the 1 minute VWAP, right? So we're underneath there, right? That's kind of cool, right? It's definitely confirming pretty much our trend structure. By the way, look how great the reverse Christmas tree worked for you guys, right? Fuck the deviation lines. I'm deviant enough. Do you know what one of my favorite courses in college was? This is a complete, definitely not my major, but like it was just a complete bullshit course. It was in sociology, and it was called Deviant Sociology. And that was a crazy course. We studied every human deviant behavior there was. That was quite a lot, but it was fascinating. No, girls was a different kind of deviance. But yeah, that was really, really wild. Anyways, so that's interesting. So that's the 1 minute. What's the 1 minute VWAP against our stuff, which is pretty much. The final thing I was going to tell you guys is when I went to Big Daddy's show and I saw everybody's trade setups, and I saw lots and lots of different really big traders with their trade setups. Do you know what really struck me is that everybody's doing the same fucking thing. They're just doing it in a little bit of a different flavor. That's all it is. There's nothing new under the sun. It's just a matter of creating a model that is intuitive, easy to understand, and has clean, clear directives for you. But the end result is that everybody's trading when they're successful, the same trade, and unsuccessful, the same trade. We traded the trend trade here successfully because we had the signals from our model that gave us really, really good entries. That's the reason why I really love DOTS, because DOTS is just basically a super good entry model if you don't fuck around with it. But as you can see, I love to fuck around with it. Anyways, another red dot, another white dot, red dot, an early Christmas tree setup, but I got to run. And this is going to be like, if it works, this will be the 10th in a row, which is the most amazing run of entry setups I've seen in a long time, right? 2 hours in a row, 10 winning trades in a row. Like that's just frigging too much, right? If this thing works. I'm going to leave you to it, guys, because I got to run. Thank you for hanging out with us today on a relatively quiet holiday day, although the price action was really good. We had a good price action. I'm going to see you tomorrow, regular time, 9 o'clock. And hopefully Austin will join us for like 8:30 Friday. He'll talk a little bit about the VWAP. All right. Everybody enjoy. Take care, guys. Take care, everybody.